It's 7 p.m, it's Friday the 26th of April 2024 and we're boldly going where no TV teaser has gone before.
Grateful if you wouldn't put personal letters in with these requests, because those are the ones that are apt to go astray. I do, in fact, answer every letter that I get, but I'm afraid for various reasons I have got rather a backlog at the moment. I am working through them as quickly as I can, so if you've written to me and you haven't heard yet, please bear with me. I promise I'll answer you as soon as humanly possible. One thing I've mentioned in the newsletter, which won't happen in 1982, is the famous planetary alignment. Now, this Jupiter effect, as it was called, began with a book published some years ago by Gribbin and Plowman, in which they maintained that in 1982, all the planets would line up on the same side of the Sun, and their combined gravitational pulls would affect the Sun, that would affect the Earth, and the results would be dire, including the possibility of serious earthquakes. Well, that book caused a great deal of interest, but I can assure you it's absolutely unfounded. For one reason, the planets will not, in fact, line up in 1982. The actual alignment is rather like this, and you can see that Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune are rather in a curve, and that was rather useful to the space planners, but they certainly aren't pulling in the same direction, and Pluto is nowhere near. Well, that's one point. Secondly, quite apart from the fact that there is no alignment, it takes only very simple mathematics to work out that even if all the planets were pulling in the same direction, it couldn't possibly affect anybody or anything. So let's hope we've now heard the last of the Jupiter effect, which is entirely non-existent.
Seen in our clip, he presented the sky at night from its first monthly broadcast in April 1957 until his death in 2012, making it the longest-running TV program with the same presenter in history. But what was the name of this astronomer? Our theme today concerns the sky, space, and other worlds. Remembering that theme, your task is to identify the programs featured in the next two rounds, later from the TV titles from which we have removed the theme tune, but your next job is to unscramble this anagram. We have a sci-fi theme to today's mix and match where, as usual, you will need to pair all three correctly to score your point. Match up these alien races to the shows in which they featured. Round 5 and the observation test next, and we're heading back to the 11th of August 1999 for a memorable moment.
2 minutes 24, John, now to totality. It's really dark outside. And this is the Isles of Scilly. Now, if we've got 2 minutes and 17 seconds, they've only got just over a minute, haven't they, until totality?
They've got just over a minute, about a minute and 10 seconds from now. And we can see the crescent has thinned now. It's very, very thin. We can see the horns here are now beginning to draw in. And this is when your hands sweat. The hairs on the back of your neck really get tense. Here are the horns drawing in now. And then then we're going to see this fade all the way down to a single point of light. I don't think we're going to get a very spectacular show of Bailey's beads as we go into totality.
We'll come back to that in a minute, John, but just here, look how dark it's got outside here.
Isn't it
at Marizaya.
absolutely wonderful? Wonderful.
It turns you on, does it, John?
It really does. And we just lost the picture there, but if we can get that back, then we'll see a plunge into totality and Scillies in about 30 seconds.
Oh, right.
If we can get that back.
Can we still see the Scilly Islands, because we've got about 30 seconds to totality?
We've got about 15 seconds now.
15 seconds?
And so we've got 10 seconds to go. Here we are, single point of light, breaks into a couple of beads, disappears. Now they'll be able to see the corona. If they can't see it through the clouds, we're coming up here. Now
here's the Hercules, John, so...
Okay.
And they're about where we are, so what are we doing? We're about a minute away?
We've got a bit less than a minute, I think, to go. They're a bit to the west of us, and again we can see things thinning and the horns drawing in.
Great shouting going on outside here, and at the Radio 1 outing now.
Absolutely. Hope nobody gets dazzled by all the flashes that go off. Tremendous.
And here's the Hercules.
Here's the Hercules again. We can see the horns drawing in again, coming down to a single point light, about 30 seconds or so to go here.
People are yelling.
Now it is dark. See that the horizon to the south is still bright. We're looking out of the zone of totality there. Looks like a huge end of the world experience to the west. Still light towards Patrick in Falmouth. Isn't this absolutely wonderful? Now you're convinced this is what people come for.
It's extraordinary out
here.
Here
From the Hercules, we're beginning to see little beads forming at the end of the arc here as the last bit of sun is disappearing behind the moon. It's all breaking up now into this final point of light. Do you see what I mean about the gloom descending?
It's just quite extraordinary. Look at the atmosphere out
there.
Now,
here we've got a fascinating picture. Here's the sun disappearing. Here's some Bailey's beads. And there is totality. We begin to see some prominences around the sun here.
And leave aside all the atmosphere and the height. This is what the scientists are looking at as well.
This is really wonderful. Now we've got midnight outside. Midnight at midday.
That was the last total solar eclipse witnessed in the UK. The next is not until 2090, although a near one is in just 2 years' time. What colour was Michael Burke's shirt? As usual, you are against the clock for our final round and have just half a minute to complete our last 3 questions. They come in the form of statements and you only have 10 seconds for each one to decide whether they are true or if they are false. Good luck. Just before we check your answers, do you have any themes you would like to see in a future TV teaser? If so, let us know. The presenter of The Sky at Night was Sir Patrick Moore. He was also famous for playing the xylophone and appearing as the games master. The TV show in our anagram was Battlestar Galactica. The original version first aired in 1978. Now let's see those titles again. It was Red Dwarf. Our titles came from the third series. To the alien races and the Klingons are associated with Star Trek, Cybermen with Doctor Who, whilst the Nintendian appear in Futurama. Now back to that eclipse.
Now they'll be able to see the corona. If they can't see it through the clouds, we're coming up here. Now we've
Here's
got
the Hercules, John, so...
Okay.
Michael was wearing a blue shirt. Incredibly, all three of our true and false statements were true. With 2 seasons, Space 1999 was the last series made by Jerry and Sylvia Anderson, while the plans for the Doctor Who movie starring Michael Jackson fell through. Lucille Ball of I Love Lucy fame is responsible for saving Star Trek. It was made by her and her husband's company Desilu. She circumvented the board of her production company, who wanted to cancel it, advocated a second pilot, and put up her own money to ensure it had another chance. That's all for tonight. We have just 4 TV teasers left. More themed episodes are available from these links, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for free. Good night.